How many of you love movies? I love movies. I love action movies. I love sports movies, and I might even get caught occasionally watching a love story with my wife. You know, one of my favorite places to go is the basement. In the basement is where I retreat after a long day. I'm actually what I call a situational extrovert. After I've been on all day long, and I'm sure you can relate to this, I love to retreat to the basement, watch a little bit of TV, watch a movie or so, and just decompress. You know, a lot of movies are full of superheroes. There's an entire genre dedicated to superhero movies. So this first video in our Hope series is all about heroes. Hello friends, I'm Matthew Denard and this is The Corporate Pastor. I'm dedicated to helping pastors and church leaders bring practical leadership coaching to your passion and your purpose. I'd encourage you to check out my video introduction to know more about me if you haven't already seen it. Now let's get back to superheroes. You do realize superheroes are only in the movies, right? I know it's really popular right now for people to describe their superpower, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about pastors that fall into the trap of trying to be everything to everyone. You're not a superhero. You can't be everything to everyone. It's impossible. Yes, the Holy Spirit gives us supernatural power, but that still does not make you a superhero. I watched for years my dad give to the church. He had such a love for people and a drive to serve people to a fault. I can't even describe the number of times that my dad got called away for emergencies. Emergencies of everybody in the church but our family, on holidays, on birthdays. This was during the much needed quiet time at home. He always got called away from the church because he didn't have the staff to help him do that. He had this propensity to give and to serve. He wanted to be that superhero, and it didn't work. The most important thing in your ministry is not your ministry. The most important thing in your ministry is your relationship, your personal relationship with God, your spouse, your marriage, and your family, and then the congregation, and then the church. Ask yourself these couple of questions. Where is your primary focus? Is your primary focus of your time and your energy spent on your relationship with God? Is it spent in your marriage? Is it spent on your children? Or is it spent running around with the congregation and the church helping them? How much time and energy do you spend on your relationship with God? I'm talking about outside of preparing for your messages. How much time do you spend on your marriage? How much time do you spend on your family? Who are you serving the most? That's a really painful question and a hard question for you to answer for yourself, but I encourage you to do that. You can't serve everyone, and that's okay. You also can't do everything for everyone, and that's okay. You will kill yourself trying, you will suffer, and your family will suffer. The most common fight for pastors and church leaders is fighting themselves. Everybody has this imposter syndrome where they're trying to prove themselves, and we do that through actions and through activities and trying to meet people's needs, trying to be that person that everybody needs you to be. I heard Pastor Robert Madu one time say, the biggest influence on you is you. What are you telling yourself? It's really about priority and focus. It's even more challenging for those pastors that aren't full-time. You have a job outside of your ministry. You're in a great season of learning to prioritize. Don't miss this opportunity. So I'd like all of you to take a moment now and think about where your priorities are. Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your energy? That's an important inventory to take of yourself as you prepare to make yourself stronger and more focused. If family isn't at the top of your list, you should probably pause this video right now and pray. Seriously, it needs to be number one for you. Bill Cowher, the Hall of Fame NFL coach, when talking about how important it was to know the players on his team, said, if they are not good at home, they won't be good at work. This is the same for you and even your staff. If you're not good at home, you're not going to be good at work. You're not going to be good at the church. Keep in mind, this is not a race. You need to pace yourself. You don't have to do everything right now. Your church doesn't have to do everything right now. Your priorities and decisions should be moving towards your purpose, your role as a Christian, your role with your family, your role in the church, and then the purpose for the church. I would also ask yourself, is it healthy? Can I do it with excellence? Is it sustainable? If it's not, Don't do it yet. Yet is the key word. That's something you'll probably get to, but not yet. I'd rather see individuals on my team do 3 things excellent than 6 things okay. And God forbid, 10 things terrible. Focus on the things you need to get done, the things that are going to make the biggest impact on your personal relationship with God, the biggest impact on your family, and the biggest impact on your church. Do those things now, and then save the rest for when the time is right. If you've gotten yourself in a position where you're struggling right now, and this feels overwhelming, sounds overwhelming, then go back and make sure your base priorities in line. It's never too late. It's like writing a book. It's like your journal. You can turn the page. You've got a blank page. You can start over tomorrow and get things on the right track. I'll start by giving you a little tip. Here's the way I think about things. What's an emergency? What's urgent? And what's important? I like to think about it as now, next, and nice. What needs to be done right now? What am I going to put my attention on right now that has the biggest impact? Then I have my list of things that are next. What will I start working on once I get those under control? And when you get the things done that are in the next, you can finally get to the nice to haves. But those nice to haves should not be taking priority. And you can't do the now, the next, and the nice all at the same time. You really, really need to focus on priorities and focus on pace as you deliver not only your own personal life and your family, but the church. So I'm going to say it again. I'm going to sound like a broken record. Make sure you're focused on your relationship with God, not your relationship with creating your next message. Make sure you're focused on your spouse and your marriage. Make sure you're focused on the children. Those next are the things that are nice to have, things you'll get to, but only when you can do it in a healthy way. Ensuring you make time with God, making time for your spouse and your family is essential. And family time is not marriage time. You need time with your spouse alone. You know, we used to always have family night at my house. Monday night, Mondays are typically the days off for pastors' families. So Monday night was always family night for us. And we did everything we could to protect that night as a family. We played games, we'd watch a show, we would do various things. Oftentimes, like I said, my dad would get called out of that. I won't say he was the best at protecting that time, and I remember those. But we did our best to protect that time as a family, and you need to do the same also. The last thing I'll say is running from the appearance of evil. This is probably one of the key points around protecting your marriage and protecting you and your family. You've got to set the right guardrails in place to be able to protect the way you operate, not only from the appearance of evil and sin, but from the enemy himself who may try to attack you in certain ways. Things like never counseling or riding with the opposite sex. I even do that in the corporate world. My assistant knows that I don't have lunch and I don't travel with women alone. If I have to have a lunch or a meeting, it's either open in the cafeteria or in a huddle room that is all glass. My wife and I even keep a strict rule of not texting the opposite sex without each other being included on the text. Do you have someone you're accountable to? Someone that can ask you the hard questions? Someone that you can be truly authentic with in a safe place? Even if you know that admitting this is going to be very vulnerable and could be very risky, do you have that person? You know, I texted that person this morning before I came to make this video. That one person that I know that I can trust no matter what. Told him some of the feelings I had, and he sent me a text back that encouraged me. You need that kind of relationship in your life. You know, that person is almost like having an Aaron that helps you carry your armor. I like to think about it in terms of drawing circles or drawing lines. Do you draw circles around people and include them, or do you draw lines and cut people out? I'm not saying bring everybody in. I certainly understand the boundaries that pastors need to set, the guards that pastors put up, but you've got to let 1 or 2 people in. Jonathan's armor bearer was a man of courage and resourcefulness. You need that person in your life. There's books, podcasts, ironing, sharpening relationships, lots of things you can do to build that kind of courage, but you've got to have somebody that you can have open conversations with. Notice that everything I'm saying is centered around being clear on your purpose. All of this moves you towards your purpose. These guardrails protect your purpose. Think of it as your mission and your vision. Every step you take should be moving you towards that vision. Not taking you away from it, not making a right turn, not making a left turn. There may be some navigation along the way. It may not be a straight line, but everything you do should be moving you towards that mission. Purpose, priority, and passion are the 3 P's to your success. Passion is the fuel for your purpose and your priorities. Are you more passionate about God and your family, or are you more passionate about your ministry? Not only do you need to guard, you need to grow. What are you doing to continue your personal growth? In my opinion, there are 3 really critical leadership skills that I think you need, whether they're in the corporate office or whether they're in the church. Those are problem solving, communication, and influence. Now, by now, you're probably starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed with all the information I'm throwing at you. But you know what? You can mess up and not be a mess up. We're all writing our own stories. We have that opportunity to turn the page. There is nothing like the future to help you overcome the past. So let me talk a little bit more about problem solving, communication, and influence. We're all dealing with problems every day, whether it be individual problems that you're dealing with in your staff, a challenge with figuring out where to take the church from here, or even difficult situations in the church you need to manage through. That's all problem solving. Communication is the next one. No one needs to really understand communicating more than pastors and church leaders. Communication is critical because that's how you influence people. You communicate a thought, you communicate a vision, you communicate a message. And if you can know how to communicate on top of the problem solving, that's what creates your influence. The other skill you need to develop is delegation. Delegation is your friend, not your foe. You know, I told that story in the introduction about how my dad give. He never had delegation. He really didn't set up a good structure in the church to delegate some of the tasks. He just did it all the way from he would show up before church and sweep. My pastor today, Pastor Eric Petrie, he does a phenomenal job delegating. One of the things that they do is this care pastor structure, because that takes some of the pressure off him to have to do all the hospital visitations, all the funerals, all the weddings, all of the needs of the congregation that he literally just cannot meet himself. While I watched for years, my dad struggled to do all of those. You may not have the staff to do that right now. But if you don't have the staff, you need to build the staff to be able to do that. The way I like to think about it is if someone can do something 80% as well as you, or 50% with the upside to be able to grow and get better at it, then give it to them. What are you waiting on? You can't keep doing this. You need to be the wisest person in the room, not the smartest. Be wise enough to leverage those smart people to move the church forward. You know, all these stories, you may think that I actually didn't have a good experience in church growing up. Actually, I did. It was a wonderful experience. You may also wonder, wow, does this guy even really have a great relationship with his parents after all these years? It's phenomenal. I tell you, the thing that my parents taught me better than anybody else in the world is unconditional love. My parents have loved me no matter what. I wouldn't still be here as a Christian. I wouldn't have stayed in church. I wouldn't even be here as the corporate pastor today had they not instilled love and a love for God in me. It's been a phenomenal experience. They didn't get everything right. We're going to explore those. They got some things really right. We're going to explore those too in our time together. But it's that time that we spent in the ministry, it's those things that they did well and those things they didn't do well that really taught me the lessons that I needed to learn in life, that prepared me for corporate America, and that has wrapped all that together to bring you the corporate pastor. So I'm excited to share. It's hard to share some of the things that I'll be sharing, but I'm excited to see where this journey is going to take us together and where I might be of service to you in helping you on your journey. What you're experiencing right now is a very transparent leader who believes that honesty will speed up the learning journey and speed up your growth. I'm just going to be real. I'll be real with what's been great. I'll be real with what hasn't. It's not an easy calling you have, but it comes with great reward as you walk it out. I'm here to walk it out with you in any way that I can. You can reach me at thecorporatepastor@gmail.com. Thank you so much for what you're doing for God, for the body of Christ. And until then, I pray peace, purpose, potential, and prosperity over you and your ministry. Be blessed and be a blessing.